I know that for a long time the audiophile community has been split about tube amplifiers. Today's star is Feliks Echo 2 by Feliks Audio in Poland, and this is a tube amplifier. It is based on tube technology with real tube, vacuum tubes to be more precise, and we have 4 of them. They look like little light bulbs and they act similarly to little light bulbs, although their function is quite different. They are basically mini transistors, and we will be talking about what changed from the Feliks Echo Mark 1 to Feliks Echo Mark 2. Well, quite visibly, the front of the device has changed. It has an input selector here now between mute 1, 2, and 3. This is because at the back it has 3 inputs, all in single-ended RCA modes. Input 1, input 2, and input 3. It does have a line out, and it has a preamp function, which means that it can be used to power an active speaker setup or a passive speaker setup if it has the pre function. It doesn't have speaker amplifying properties. You should keep that in mind. It has a fuse and an on-off switch along with a kettle plug, because this rounded part right here, this is the power delivery of the unit. Just look at this, I can hold it by it, so the entire unit is not quite as heavy as the power delivery is. I haven't done this in a long time, but I should be keeping it on my shoulder. Looks quite good, I would say. This is the 434 unit, pretty high number. Feliks Audio is making a lot of those and is selling them quite well. This is because they do sound quite good, and I have high hopes that they will keep making those for a long time. It is a family-run company actually, and they take great pride in producing tube amplifiers. The Feliks Echo 2 has one headphone output in the 6.35mm format. It is single-ended, it is not balanced, and that is pretty much everything about the Feliks Echo 2 as far as the shape goes. I can see that the color of the internal circuit board has changed, and the wood has also changed a bit. The unit is quite heavy, and other than the aesthetics, everything is pretty similar to the Echo 1, especially the fact that it is an OTL amplifier, which means that it is basically intended for dynamic headphones. It is not designed for planar magnetic headphones or for low impedance headphones, and it is not designed for very hard to drive headphones because it doesn't have a very high driving power. This being said, the performance with dynamic headphones is superb, especially if you have a dynamic headphone that you are never really able to tame to give that rich harmonic feeling that a planar headphone has, or if you wanted to hear the true depth and the true meaning of a tube amplifier. This is a great starter, I would say. Also, it is a great starter for having a high-end preamplifier for a system, because those tubes are really good, and you can also replace them. You can use tubes that are as high-end as possible. Usually with tube amplifiers and with tube preamplifiers, the tubes do most of the heavy lifting. It is a combination of the tubes, the quality of the circuits inside and how well they are designed, and this power delivery here, the toroidal transformer. With Feliks Echo 2, it is a very heavy and very high-end toroidal transformer that works beautifully. On the other hand, for headphones, it is mainly designed to power headphones such as Sennheiser HD800S or Sennheiser HD650, Beyerdynamic Myron, and other dynamic headphones like the Beyerdynamic T1, for example, or Tesla One, which is a dynamic headphone. It is not designed for planar magnetic headphones, so I hope that you are not purchasing this for HiFi Menananda or HiFi Menara Stealth or Audes LCD2C. It is not designed for them, and with them it may sound not quite as good. For example, it may lack the control and the authority it has with dynamic headphones. I had an outstanding experience using it with Crozon CZ1, Crozon CZ10, and Crozon CZ8A, all of which are dynamic headphones. All of them have 3 dynamic drivers, but that is no problem for the Feliks Echo 2. Feliks Echo 2 also prefers headphones that have a higher impedance, so it is best paired with headphones that have 80 ohms or higher of impedance. It is not designed to work with 32 ohms or with 16 ohms of impedance for the headphones, which is important to note because the number of high impedance headphones is not quite that high, especially nowadays when most companies either create planar magnetic headphones or they create headphones with a lower impedance so that you can use them with portables. The most interesting headphone that I've used with the Feliks Audio Echo 2 is the Sennheiser HD660S, which always sounded underdriven from portables, like it lacked body and it lacked character and harmonics. It always sounded kind of bright. Somehow Feliks Echo 2 is able to tame it really well. Because it is an OTL amplifier and because it is a tube amplifier and because the design is made for high impedance headphones with EMs, especially with very sensitive EMs, you will hear a background hissing. That being said, you can connect some EMs to it and it won't burn them. I mean, I did that to test, and in my experience it never burned headphones and EMs. Just doesn't sound quite as good with low impedance as it sounds with high impedance. Being priced at 800 euros is one of the pricier tube amplifiers, especially if you've been used to chi-fi stuff. But it has the build and it has the advantage of being built by hand in an actual workshop and being tested before it is sent out, compared to these most amplifiers that are tube based and which are much cheaper, come from AliExpress, and they are usually not very good of quality. At one point, Xduo asked me to review their TA10, which was a tube amplifier and which sounded quite poorly. I mean, it was much more affordable, but the sound doesn't quite compare to something like the Feliks Echo 2. It's like Feliks Audio really knows how to make a tube amplifier. It's like they really understand how to build one. They don't just copy a diagram of the internet and they just start selling them. They actually take the time and the effort to design those to sound good. You are watching a channel named Audiophile Heaven. I'm supposed to care about how good they sound, not just how they are built or how they look. Echo 2 surely has been a big surprise for me, as I hope it will be for you if you decide to go for it. Don't forget to check the links in the video description. I have a PayPal donation link if you are willing to lend me a hand so that I can make better content, so that I can afford more lights for my studio. The electricity bills are getting out of hand and I may have to film my videos like this in darkness at some point because I can't afford all of the electricity going. But other than that, I do think that the Feliks Echo 2 is a beautiful device. I do think that it will find a place in the homes of hi-fi owners as much as it will do in those who have headphones. It's like it's actually a bit better used as the preamplifier than used as the headphone amplifier, because as I have a huge collection of headphones, only a minor part of them are fully compatible and can fully draw out the advantages that Feliks Echo 2 has to offer. On the other hand, when it comes to hi-fi setups and when it comes to speaker setups, having a tube preamplifier can enrich your experience so much. It can make the harmonics richer, it can give you a much more natural sound, a wider, more holographic soundstage, and somehow it creates all of those in a matter that I can only call realistic. Doesn't have all of the hard edges that digital processing usually does, and analogic processing simply sounds better. It's not about the age of the listener, it's not about the taste of the listener, just tube stuff tends to sound better. This is why the best guitar amplifiers in the whole world are based on tube technology. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, you are the star for being here with me. I hope you will check out other videos as well. I hope you'll have a lovely weekend there. And don't forget, I really hope you are having a great time out there. Bye bye.